I'm going to do a tutorial to show you some of the elements of the Autism Love Blanket. So for this blanket, you make a bunch of these hexagons, and it's a free pattern that's available on my website. You can also purchase a paid PDF copy if you want, and the pattern comes with 3 different designs. There's the infinity symbol, a solid heart, and this hollow heart. So when you get the chart, these are black and white copies just because I don't have a color printer, but there's written directions and the chart. And so for the chart, these outside ones, these are not actually something you're going to work. That's just to show you the border of the hexagon. And then as you increase, these little gray squares show you where you do an increase. All of these white squares are going to be Tunisian knit stitch, and these black squares are going to be twisted Tunisian or Tunisian twisted knit stitch, and I will do a brief refresher on how to do those. And then up here, as you decrease, all these dark gray are going to be decreases. So you can work. I'm just going to do a really quick refresher on how to get started with Tunisian. So I have a Tunisian crochet hook with an extender cable. I think this would actually be easier with just a standard Afghan hook that's one of those long hooks with an end on it, because you don't need to have that much space. But since I don't have one of those, I'm going to use my extender cable. So to start, you do a chain. I'm just going to do a few stitches just so you can see how it works. I'm not going to do the whole pattern. So you do a chain, and then for your foundation row, you'll go into the second stitch from your hook, and you'll pull up a loop, and you'll do that with every stitch going across so that you have a loop on your hook for every single stitch. And as I do my Tunisian projects, especially if there's weird counts, I will count it after I do the forward pass. So as you pick up all the loops, it's called the forward pass. And then you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 stitches. That's how many I'm going to have for this row. And so that's right. And then for the return pass, every row of this pattern, the return pass will be the same. It's always a standard closing. So you'll yarn over and pull through 1, and then you'll yarn over and pull through 2, and do that all the way across. So this is just your foundation row for Tunisian crochet. And then, like I said, the whole project is worked in Tunisian knit stitch or Tunisian twisted knit stitch. So to do a Tunisian knit stitch, you can see these stitches, how they have 2 loops. So for Tunisian knit stitch, never work in this first one. The loop that's on your hook counts as the stitch for that first stitch. So I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to go in between them from the front to the back, through, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then I'm just going to do that all the way across. This is Tunisian knit stitch. So through those 2 loops, all the way across. And again, I should still have 10 stitches on my hook because I didn't do any increases or decreases. When you get to the very end, you'll go through that bar on the last stitch. And then again, the closing, yarn over and pull through 1, then yarn over and pull through 2, all the way across. Oop. Oh goodness, I'm having trouble. Okay, so that was Tunisian knit stitch, and if you keep going with Tunisian knit stitch, it will end up looking a lot like regular knitting, which is really cool because I always hated in crochet that I couldn't have something that looks like knitting. But now here you can see that it really looks a lot like knitting. This is all Tunisian knit stitch. And then this is the Tunisian twisted knit stitch. So I will show you how to do that in just a minute. Okay. So for Tunisian twisted knit stitch, well, I'm going to do 2 knit stitch first. 1, 2. And now for Tunisian twisted knit stitch, instead of going straight through here, I'm going to grab this top one, pull it over, and then I'm going to go under the bottom one. So I'm making a twist. See how that top strand is pulled over to the side? So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to grab the top strand, pull it over, then go under the bottom strand. Yarn over and pull through. So again, I'm still pulling loops up on my hook. I'm going to get a loop for every stitch on my hook. Grab the top one, pull it over, go under the bottom. This is Tunisian twisted knit stitch. And this is the stitch you're going to use for all of the design elements. And I'll finish it off with 2 knit stitch. And then again, the return pass is just the same. Yarn over, pull through 1, then yarn over and pull through 2 all the way across. So to get the hexagon shape, you're going to have to do increases and decreases. Now, so you can see here, you've got regular knit stitch and you've got twisted knit stitch. Maybe should have used a different color. The white's a little hard to see, but I think you can see well enough. Okay, so to do an increase, all of the increases and decreases happen right at the beginning and right at the end to make the hexagon shape for this pattern. So you'll never have an increase or a decrease in the middle of your hexagon. So to do an increase, normally you would go through here to do a Tunisian knit stitch, right? But instead I'm going to go through right here between the stitches, the same place you would go for a Tunisian full stitch, and pull up a loop. Then I'm going to go into that normal stitch that I would have started with. So I've got an extra loop on my hook, right? So I've got my starting loop, then one in between the stitches, and then my first stitch. And then I'm just going to do knit stitch all the way across. And your increases will always be right before the end and right after the beginning, this whole pattern. So then right here, this is my last stitch. I'm going to go in between the last 2 stitches, pull up a loop, and then do my last stitch. Maybe. And then close like normal. So now I just made 2 extra stitches, so I have 12 stitches now instead of 10. Okay. That's good. All right, and now to do a decrease, again, all of the decreases will happen right before or right after the end. Your very last stitch will always be normal. So to do a decrease, I'm going to insert my hook, like for a knit stitch, under that first bar, but I'm also going to go under that first bar for the next stitch. Then to the back, pull up a loop. So now I've worked 2 together, just like I would for a knit stitch. I put my hook through the way I would for Tunisian knit stitch, but I did 2 loops together. And then I'll work my way across. And then here, you can see I've got 3 stitches left. So these 2 stitches I'm going to work together because my last one I'm going to always work normal. So I'm going to go through them both like I would for a knit stitch, pull up a loop through both, and then finish with my last stitch. And now I've got 10 loops on my hook again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I increased 2 and then I decreased 2. And I hope this helps you. These are all the stitches that you need for the actual white part of the hexagon square. You just need Tunisian knit stitch, Tunisian twisted stitch, and a full stitch increase, and a knit stitch 2 together decrease. So that is your quick refresher tutorial on Tunisian crochet in case you needed a refresher. Now I'm going to go ahead and walk you through how to make the border. So one thing about Tunisian crochet is it tends to like to curl up. So this is a finished square. I didn't weave in my ends yet, but that's okay. So this is one of the hollow heart squares. I keep calling them squares even though they're rectangles or hexagons, but that's okay. And we want to add this rainbow border. So I forgot to mention that the yarn that I'm using for this project is Brava worsted weight yarn. This is from We Crochet or Knit Picks, and I picked this yarn because they have really great rainbow colors. It's nice to work with. It's got a nice sheen to it in the white, so I like that. So I've got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, because who needs indigo, right? And hexagons are easier than septagons. Okay, so I have all of my colors lined up over on the side in order. And one thing to be mindful of is that you're going to want all of your hexagons to be having the same colors right side up. So I decided to put red at the bottom of each of my squares. You could put red at the top or whatever. Just make sure that you always do it the same way. so that when you assemble your afghan or your blanket, then it looks right. It doesn't really matter so much for the hexagon or the infinity symbols because they look basically the same either way. So if you did those upside down, it doesn't matter. But for the hearts, if you did it so that the heart is going to be upside down in your blanket, that's going to look really weird. So don't do that. Okay, since I did red at the bottom, I'm going to turn this around. So I'm going to start my red over here. Now I'm going to also take the extender off my cable because this is just standard crochet. I'm not going to have that many stitches on my hook, and it's easier to work without it. So I'm going to start with red. Get my red yarn. And I am going to find the stitch that is not the corner. I'm going to skip the corner stitch and go in the next stitch over. And I'm going to join. Everything here is going to be single crochet. So I'm going to do single crochet. And here's a tricky thing. So the Tunisian crochet is tighter than the single crochet, so we actually need to do some decreases as we go along the edges, and the top and the bottom are going to need more decreases than the two sides. So single crochet decrease, and 2 single crochet. And you can, figure out where you want your decreases to be. The thing is, you want to have 21 stitches altogether when you're done. So that was a decrease. I'll do 2 single crochet, and then a decrease. Okay, so I have 19 stitches going across. I said we want 21, and we do. So I'm going to add 2 stitches in this corner. 1, 2, and I'm not going to finish off this stitch because I'm going to switch colors. So now I'm going to grab my orange, and I'm going to pull through that last stitch with my orange. And now I'm going to keep working across on the orange. Now for the sides, there are fewer rows than there were columns on the bottom, so I only have to do about 3 decreases. But I've noticed that sometimes with Tunisian, I kind of get extra loops on the side, so just make sure you count. There should be 21 stitches of each color when you're done, and that includes having 2 in the corner stitch. So I'm going to work across with this orange. Okay, so I have 21 stitches. I did 3 decreases spread out along that side. And now it's time to switch to yellow, orange, and then yellow. So I'll pull through with yellow. Okay, so again, I've got 21 stitches with yellow, including 2 in the corner. I had to do 3 decreases along this side. And oops, I was not supposed to pull through that last one because I want to switch colors. So now red, orange, yellow, green. We're making ourselves a rainbow. Pull that through. Now I'll work across the bottom here. So this is going to take more decreases like the red row did. So I'm going to do a single crochet, then a decrease, 2 single crochet is a decrease. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now I've got all the way around my first row, and I've done 2 purple stitches in this last corner stitch. Now I'm going to join to my starting red stitch, just with a slip stitch. I'm going to chain one and I'm going to turn. Now I'm not going to detach any of these yarns. I still have 6 different yarns attached to my project, and they're going to stay attached until the very last row. So I'm going to turn, and my yarn is going to get a little tangled, but that's okay. And I am going to work back along. Now, this turning chain does not count as a stitch. So now I'm going to work 3 single crochet in my first purple stitch. Now that, let me get it to focus. That slip stitch that I did to join to the red is not my first stitch. So my first single crochet of purple, I'm going to do 3 single crochet in there. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to do single crochets all the way along the purple until I get to the end, and then I'm going to do a single crochet decrease. I'm going to do 2 together, and then I'll switch to blue. The end of the second row with my red, I'm going to do a decrease for my last stitch, and I'll finish it off. And I need to join to the purple, chain 1, turn, and that turn chain does not count, neither does the slip stitch, so I'm going to do a decrease in my red, and I'll single crochet 17. Then I'll do 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 1, 2, and that's where my corner is, then 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet in the last red stitch. And this is because I am moving this red around the corner. It's kind of taking over orange territory. And again, I'm not going to finish off with the red, instead I'm going to pull through with this orange, making sure I don't pull the orange too tight when I do it. Then I'll start with a decrease in orange. Then I will single crochet 17, do 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, switch colors. So I'm going to do that all the way around this side until the next row. Reached the end of my third row with my purple, so I'm going to join it to my red with a slip stitch, and then chain 1 and turn my work around. Yep, your yarn is getting tangly and crazy right now, but you only have 2 rows left, so you're getting there. And remember that that slip stitch and that turn chain do not count as stitches, so do not work into them. Okay, so now I'm going to do 2 single crochet in my first purple, 1, 2, then I will do 2 single crochet, 1 in each of the next stitches, 1, 2, then 2 single crochet in the next stitch. This is my corner, 1, 2. Then I'm going to single crochet 17 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then a decrease. And I'll switch to blue. I'll do 2 in the first stitch, then single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, then 2 single crochet, then I'll do 17 and then a decrease, switch colors, 2 in the next stitch, 1 in each of the next 2 stitches, 2 in the next stitch, 17, and then a decrease. I'll do that all the way around until I get to the end of the row. The home stretch, we just finished row 4. I forgot to mention, for row 1 I said there's 21 stitches, row 2 has 22, row 3 has 23, row 4 has 24, row 5 has 25 stitches per color. So I just finished row 4 with my red. I'm going to finish my last stitch here on this row, and at the end of the red, I finished that stitch. I'm going to join it to my first stitch of purple. Again, my first single crochet of purple, not my slip stitch. Chain 1 and turn. And again, that turn chain does not count. Let me get my scissors ready, because as I finish each color on this last row, I can trim off that color's thread, so I get less of a mess. Alright, so we can see the shape that we're making. We're increasing purple on this side and decreasing red on this side. So I'm going to start my red with a decrease. Then I'll do 17 single crochet. 1, 17. Then I'll do 2 single crochet in the next stitch. 1, 2 for my corner, then 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. And then 2 single crochet in my last stitch. 1, 2. I'm going to pull through with my orange because I'm switching colors. I'll start orange with a decrease. And I can trim off this red. I'm going to leave a tail for weaving in my end. My red is done. Yay! I feel lighter already. So I'm going to keep going around. I'll do a decrease, 17 single crochet, 2 single crochet in one stitch, then 3 single crochet, then 2 single crochet in the next stitch, switch colors, and work all the way around to the end. Alright, so this is the end of my purple row. I'm going to join it with a slip stitch to my red, trim that off. Yay! So this is my border for my square. Got the red on the bottom, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and you can see it's curling a lot less now because the regular crochet helps hold it flat, but it is still wanting to curl some, and it would do nicely to be blocked. I actually hate blocking, but also it's going to stay down a lot better when you start sewing it together. So you'll make a grid of these. And we'll sew them all together, and it will look awesome, like so. Wish I could zoom out, I can't, but first I've got to weave in the ends. These two already have their ends woven in, so I will show you really quick how I am going to join them together. So there's lots of different ways you can join things together, and you are welcome to choose a different way if you have a preference. But I'm going to join them with a single crochet, and I'm going to make it so that my single crochet bump ends up on the top so it creates some texture. So I put these wrong sides together, and I'm going to find the place on my corners where I did my 2 single crochet. So let's see, looks like right here. Oh, first, gotta get my white ready. Get that on my hook. I'm going to find that spot on my other one. So I'm going to insert my hook through both of those corner stitches. And pull through. So I'm doing this as single crochet. And once you've found that corner stitch, then the rest is easy peasy. You just got to make sure you get your corner right. You just insert in the next stitch on this side and the next stitch on that side. And we'll single crochet through both of those. And I'm just going to do this all the way across. Now you could do this kind of one square at a time. You could go all the way around one square and then do spokes. You could do all the vertical lines and then all the horizontal lines. You know, you can really choose how you want to do it and do it however that works best for you. It doesn't really matter. But you just do this all the way along the side. I'm just going to do that much for now because you get the idea. And so then when I straighten that out, it creates this bump and it's kind of floppy, but I decided to do it this way. Well, I liked the idea of doing white because then I didn't have to figure out what color, because all these colors touch each other, and so which color do you want to join it with? I don't know. And then on the back, you just see a kind of stitching. It doesn't really show as much. Okay, and then last little tip, pointer. I recommend doing a border on the outside because it'll smooth it out a little bit and it just makes it look really nice and lay flat. So when you do your border around the outside, if you do a single crochet border, which is what I will do, you'll do 2 single crochet in each point that's coming up, and you'll do 1 decrease in each V down here. And it'll make a nice V so that it doesn't bunch up or look crazy. And again, when you get to the points, you make sure you do 2 single crochet in each corner to keep the corner shape. So that is just a quick rundown of how I join it and how I'm going to do my border. Now you could do like a rainbow border around the side, or you could just do white, you know, whatever you want to do, whatever you think looks nice. I honestly haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. For sure I'm going to do 2 rounds of white, but then I might do more white, or I might do some rainbow, or I might just leave it there. So I'll play with it, and you will see when I post my final product what I ended up choosing. But I hope that's helpful, and I hope you have lots of fun, and that you have somebody that you can gift this to who will love it and appreciate it, and that will be able to feel all of your love. And that is it. I hope you enjoy this project. Happy crocheting. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will post the links below about how you can get the instructions with the diagrams for this pattern. And like I said, it'll be free on the blog. If you would love to get blankets to as many kids as would appreciate them. Happy crocheting.